All right, ladies and gentlemen, guys, we'd like to welcome you to the show. This is your host of the evening, DJ Just Jay with Just Dimes ENT. I want to tell you guys about a story, but before I do that, I want to preface this so you'll know what's going on. We're going to talk about this story that has to do with a kid that has been abused. As you guys know, we advocate for children first. What we want to do is we want to speak about some things that maybe we tend to overlook on day-to-day things, but as we talk about these things, maybe they can become things that you can kind of watch out for. So we have a saying where we say, if you see something, say something. All right. For the people that are not able to digest our content, all I ask you guys to do is just exit the video if you're not going to listen with an open mind and an open heart. Right. Please don't flaggy my videos. There's no need to flag my channel. All I ask you guys to do is leave my channel. For everybody else that wants to hear the story, here it is. Now, the parents of a 2-year-old girl have been officially sentenced to 18 months in jail after this 2-year-old little girl died from being left out in the cold on the front porch of their apartment or house, duplex, whatever the hell it is. Right? Now, you guys know, this is like the second, maybe even third story that we've done about parents being neglectful and leaving their children in the freezing cold, which for the life of me, I think is highly irresponsible. And I think that it's definitely something that deserves a ton of punishment, okay? Now, the mother in this case, her name is Tiara Williams. She's age 23. Let me see if I can get a picture of Tiara on the screen so you will know that's the beautiful little baby right there. And I don't know if y'all caught it, but the little girl is posthumous now. Here's a picture of all three of them together. The mother is in that top right corner. The father, we're going to put a pin. We're going to get to him in just a moment, okay? Now, Tiara Williams, age 23, left their Akron home in Ohio for work on February the 2nd of 2018, leaving her daughter, whose name is Wynter Parker, in the bottom right corner right there. Wynter, W-Y-N-T-E-R, Parker. Not a difficult name. I kind of like the name, you know, but left her under the supervision of her father. So as you guys know, we always hashtag, where's the father? Here's the father in this situation. So we're definitely going to get into him. Shout out to my brother, Relationship Rehab. If you guys have not subscribed to his channel, subscribe there and also subscribe to United Guns of America. Love my brother. Thank you very much. Y'all subscribe to him. Now, Williams found her daughter as she was coming back home. Found her daughter, Wynter Parker, unconscious outside of the family's Willow Run apartment near Goodyear Ďẹāṭḥ and made a frantic 911 call. She's told the dispatcher, she's frozen. She's frozen. She's talking about her 2-year-old daughter. Now, Williams, who was pregnant at the time, told police that she left Wynter with Parker for about 2 hours while she was out with their 4-year-old son. That's Williams right there. Let me see if I can get his first name up here because I had it a minute ago. I'll get it for you guys here in a minute. Little bit of a brain fart. I'll get it for you guys here. Oh, Darian Parker. Wow, it's right there on the screen. Thank you, Judge. I helped myself out on that one. Darian Parker, okay? Now, she left her daughter with the baby dad for about 2 hours while she was out with their 4-year-old son. Now, I think it's a little bit odd, the fact that she took one kid and left the other. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was a reason for that, but let's keep going. Now, the mother immediately wrapped the girl with blankets and called 911 and said that she's frozen. Now, Williams, who was pregnant, told authorities that she left her daughter with Darian Parker, the father, for about 2 hours while she went out of the home with their 4-year-old son. Now, Parker lost track of his daughter during a day when the town's temperatures slipped below freezing temperatures, never reaching higher than 19 degrees. Now, I'm a grown man, and I'm going to tell you guys that, as I've told you guys on the last story, that even for me, being a grown man, a pretty good size, 6'2", 280 pound, 35-year-old man, I get cold when the temperature drops below 40 degrees. And even some cases, 40 is a bit too cold for me. That generates a lot of body heat. So I want you guys to imagine a 2-year-old baby that probably doesn't come past your waistline, maybe even not even past your knee level, being subjugated to temperatures that are half that or even less than that, maybe even a quarter of that. What do you think that's going to do to a baby's body in a relatively short amount of time, let alone 2 hours, okay? Now, the 2-year-old girl who was not wearing a winter coat. So Wynter was not wearing a winter coat. It's kind of a paradox. Was rushed to the hospital, but she ended up dying. That little girl right there, beautiful little girl, natural hair. Breaks my heart, man. She died from severe hypothermia. Now, Assistant Prosecutor Dan Sauerland, however, pointed out that this wasn't the first time that Akron police had been called to this couple's apartment because of their young children being left outside unattended. Guys, let me repeat myself. Assistant Prosecutor Dan Sauerland pointed out that this was not the first time that Akron police had been out to the apartment because the children were being left outside unattended. Please take your pens, bookmark that part of the story. We're definitely coming back to that, all right? Now, McCarty said the couple found themselves in a dysfunctional situation with Parker up all night recording music. So this dude right here was up all night recording music in a studio for a career which he wasn't yet being paid, and Williams working during the day cutting clients' hair at their homes and unable to take care of 2 children with her. And it's funny how they made sure to let us know what their situation, what their working situation was. Darian Parker is a on the come up rapper who ain't currently making any money at all to be able to sustain the family. Does anybody find a problem with that? The fact that he's a grown man with 2 children, no job, with no intentions of being a job, and we're always thinking about fast money. We're going to be a rapper. That's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to put clothes on the baby's back, food on the table, and take care of these bills that come in on a day-to-day basis. Not go work some type of job, or not go get a trade, not go create a real business that's going to generate income right now. We're going to hope that we're 1 in 10 million, that we're going to hit the musical lottery. Let me know if I'm wrong, guys. Please, somebody in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong. Hashtag bad parenting. I see you. Yes. Who was that? That was Bevo Barber was absolutely right. He nodded off. Davon said he could have went to trade school. Something. Thank you. I'm going to be paying attention to this chat today. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Now, let's keep going. On January 25th, Williams reacted in an outrage to Summit County Judge Allison McCarty's decision to sentence the mother. What she ended up getting was 2 years in jail. I'm going to tell you guys, because I'm torn about this, because I want parents that are in situations where they neglect their children to be held accountable, but I also think that the sentence should be fair. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I feel like this sentence was more than fair. I can even let you guys listen to the audio of the judge, and y'all tell me if this judge was fair. So we're going to pause on some of this story. So we're going to go outside of the normal, and we're going to go ahead and show you guys a video actually pretty quick. So let me go ahead and give the fair usage, and then we'll start the first video. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. So I'm not going to even waste a lot of you guys' time today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the video that has really gotten a lot of attention, and you're going to find out why, because she cursed out the judge. Yes, the mother cursed out the judge because she was given a sentence that she thought that she should not have gotten for basically being responsible for her daughter being dead. Listen up.
The relationship she would have forged, the things she would have done. I mean, this is all a loss. And it is this loss that I feel compelled that calls for the consequences that I'm giving her today. It's that loss that is compelling me to do this. So Ms. Williams has to the endangering children charge on the felony of the third degree. I am imposing an 18-month sentence in the Ohio State Penitentiary. I'm also going to order that you pay the costs of this prosecution. I will consider you for judicial release. And Mr. Parker, I'm imposing a 2-year sentence in the Ohio State Penitentiary, and I'm imposing the cost of this prosecution. I will also consider you for judicial release.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there because we're not at the explosion just yet. The explosion is going to happen here in a minute. I'm going to rewind this so you guys can hear. She basically said, I'm going to give you guys about 2 years apiece. But the thing is, that's more or less a formality. That's a formality. Does everybody know what a formality is? The reason it's a formality is because she's going to consider them for early release, and she's going to be highly persuaded to do so because she doesn't want to impose that sentence, but she feels like a sentence is necessary. So I feel like this judge was very fair. I'm going to let you guys hear that part again on the sentencing, but she's giving them 2 years because she's pretty much forced to. But she's going to consider them for early release to try to get them off of some of that 2-year sentence. Everybody catch that? Let's listen again.
Williams has to the endangering children charge on the felony of the third degree. I am imposing an 18-month sentence in the Ohio State Penitentiary. I'm also going to order that you pay the costs of this prosecution. I will consider you for judicial release. And Mr. Parker, I'm imposing a 2-year sentence in the Ohio State Penitentiary, and I'm imposing the cost of this prosecution. I will also consider you for judicial release. I'm not guaranteeing it for either of you.
That's so relax.
Y'all hear that? Now, on January 25th, which was just weeks ago, Williams reacted to the outrage of Summit County Judge Allison McCarty's decision to sentence the mother to 2 years, and she said, "That's so effed up." She screamed in anguish as the sheriff deputy put handcuffs on her wrist. "I'm so effing mad." Listen at this broad again. Let's see if I can get it to play. Hold on. Might have to restart it. It's okay. I remember where I was at. Hold on. I got things disappearing on me. Hold on. It's okay. We ain't used this software in a while. It's messing up on me. That's okay. We're going to get right back to it. Here we go. Listen again.
That's so
Thank you. Chevelle said it. 2 years. They both got off easy. That was hugely fair. The reason why it was hugely fair was just like as I said a minute ago, was because they're going to be considered for early release, meaning the judge is going to more than likely let them off of that pretty quick. Relatively quick. They might not, hell, who knows? They might not do hardly even a few months. We don't know that. But this is what she runs up against. Because if you guys know about disrupting court order when court is in session, then you could get also held in contempt of court. Uh-oh. If you guys didn't know, please hit the thumbs up, share the show, let other people know that we're live if you haven't already hit the thumbs up. She could get charged with being held in contempt of court for that outburst right there. And then she could turn around and get the full sentence. Keep in mind the fact why this is so important is because we're talking about paying the price for your daughter being dead. In my personal opinion, I would be so heartbroken that whatever sentence you gave me, not only am I going to be cool with, but all my focus, 100% of my focus is going to be my daughter. But then again, maybe that's why my daughter doesn't end up in shitty situations, because I care and love my daughter, right? That's something else that we have to think about. Because I feel like there was a huge neglect here. Now, Parker, who was the father, said he accepted full responsibility, which you saw in the video, for the death of their daughter, which is why I said that fathers are important, even though they both had a huge neglect in this situation. Now, I can't tell you how sorry I am for what happened. It was a tragic accident, Parker was quoted in saying. Now, both the parents pleaded guilty to child endangerment in November 2018, a charge that carries up to a 3-year prison sentence. Keep in mind, they only got sentenced to 2, and I think one of them, maybe both of them, got sentenced to 18 months, okay? And they could potentially get out earlier than that. Well, he might. Well, I don't know about her. Now, while Parker and Williams had hoped for probation, they hoped for probation in the midst of them being responsible for their daughter's death, I think is weird. The prosecution advocated for a prison sentence, which I think it was absolutely right in doing so. Assistant Prosecutor Dan Spodřison claimed the death of Wynter was not the first time the Akron police had been called to the apartment because their children were left outside unattended, meaning that they had every reason to think that there was a large level of neglect on their part, all right? Now, he argued in court that the toddler's death was preventable, okay, citing that the 25-year-old father was up all night and the family had breakfast together the morning of the incident. Now, this is a dangerous situation that didn't need to happen, Mr. Spodřison said. It shouldn't have come to that. Before adding, we do have a young child who died as a result. We do think prison is the appropriate sentence, and I believe it is also. Now, the judge acknowledged the couple who had split up since Wynter's death were in a malfunctional situation since Parker was staying up throughout the night recording music in a studio for a non-paying career. I want you guys to take the pen out of the book and remember that they specified that it was a non-paying job. What type of picture does that paint about our men, brothers, us, that have our skin hue, our hair texture? That paints a picture that we're hella irresponsible. So I'm going to tell the men out there, if you haven't heard it before, there is no reason for us not to be in a situation like this, to step up and do what you're supposed to do when it's a lot of men out here that are not even given the legal recourse to be able to be in their children's life. And for you to have your daughter right then and there, and for you to not be responsible and have that level of neglect, I think that speaks very, very highly to the fact that I'm sorry, like in my opinion, he don't qualify as a man. That's not a man. That's not what men do. That's not the behavior or an action of a man. That's the behavior of a boy. Everybody agree with that? Now, Williams, as a hairdresser, worked during the daytime. Since she cut clients' hair at their homes, she could not have brought 2 children along with her. That needed to be resolved, McCarty said. That's an untenable situation. She added that looking after the children should have been their most important duty, before alleging it wasn't the case for the Wynter's parents. McCarty went on to explain that if the 2-year-old children, like their daughter, were left unattended, they could often get into life hazardous scenarios like drowning in a pool or drinking a poisonous substance, right? There could be a potential danger everywhere, she added. You two did not have your eyes on, not a lack of love, not a lack of attention, not a lack of love, a lack of attention, noting that it wasn't the case at all of the time, but some of the time, which put both children at risk. McCarty told the defendants she would consider releasing the parents early. Now, Williams' defense attorney, Kanai Hightower, I believe that's Kanai, K-A-N-I, Kanai Hightower, agreed in court that the mother made an error in judgment by leaving her daughter alone with Parker while knowing that he had not gotten any sleep the night before, which I think is a little weird too. I don't know what you guys think about that, okay? Now, but she argued that Williams did everything in her power to rescue their daughter when she found her outside. In addition to warming Wynter with blankets and calling police, Williams also cooperated with authorities and prosecutors ever since, which is why I also believe that the sentence was fair, because it was a very lenient sentence. Now, Angela Williams, who was the maternal grandmother of the toddler, testified on behalf of the daughter, begging McCarty to give the 23-year-old mother probation only. Now, the grandmother called Williams a good mother that made one bad decision and already suffered enough since her daughter's death. She quotes, "We need to heal as a family and not be pulled apart with her being gone from her kids and her family," she said. Since Wynter's death, Williams and Parker split up. The parents have split custody over their two children under supervision of Summit County Children Services. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and watch the rest of these videos, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. But honestly, this is my honest opinion. I get why they are charging the mother equally, but honestly, how wrong was the mother in this situation? Knowing the fact that they had past neglect issues and stuff like that in this one situation that happened, do you guys think that she was wrong and deserves prison time? I want to know what you guys think. Type it in the chat. Type it in the comment section after the video is over, okay?
A 2-year-old girl in Ohio found dead in the freezing cold right on her front porch.
I just don't understand how a 2-year-old could be outside and you not know.
Girl was found by her mother Friday afternoon outside the home in Akron. The mom made a frantic call to 911. It was too late.
It was freezing. That was my biggest worry when the cops came. When they started asking about the kids, they didn't divulge what was really going on, but when he asked about the kids, obviously something was going on. And I was worried.
Yeah, that neighbor also saying she's had to take the little girl home before when she was outside playing alone. So far, no charges tonight.
Okay, now that's obviously an older story, but listen to what she said here at the end.
Little girl home before when she was...
And I was worried.
Yeah, that neighbor also saying she's had to take the little girl home before when she was outside playing alone.
She had that woman, that big old thing that y'all just saw on the screen a minute ago, said that she had to take the little girl home because she was outside playing alone. Their neighbor that lives in this, whatever the hell it is, an apartment, I guess. So clearly they just were completely neglecting this baby. And I just think that's weird. Let's hear a couple more of these real quick before we get up out of here. If y'all are in this chat, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for your boy, please. I see y'all typing in there. If this is your first time here, think about subscribing, but I need y'all to at least hit that thumbs up. MFSVH said, "Where's the community? I wouldn't allow kids near him." I get that. I think it's weird the fact that I don't know how deeply the neighbors dived into reporting this to CPS, reporting this to the police. If you have to take this little girl home because she was outside playing alone, it makes me wonder what action did CPS and the police take on their end once they found that out. Let's keep going.
You're going to carefully tilt the head back. You're going to pinch her nose closed and completely cover her mouth with your mouth and then blow 2 regular breaths into the lungs.
A dispatcher gives CPR advice to a frantic Akron mother who just discovered her 2-year-old daughter unresponsive on their front porch. Akron police say around 3:30 Friday afternoon, they were called to the apartment on Doty Drive. According to the 911 call, the mother told the dispatcher she found her daughter frozen outside.
I cried because I just don't understand how a 2-year-old could be outside and you not know.
Neighbor Crystal Lucas says the woman who lives in the apartment kept to herself and had 2 children, the 2-year-old girl and a boy. She was surprised when police officers knocked on her door.
It was freezing. That was my biggest worry when the cops came. When they started asking about the kids, they didn't divulge what was really going on, but when he asked about the kids, obviously something was going on, and I was worried.
Neighbors say they would occasionally hear people arguing outside of the apartment. Crystal says she has seen both children outside alone before.
I've had to take the baby home because she'll be outside playing.
That don't make no sense. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Let me say this real quick. I know y'all saying CPS is a joke, but I'm going to just say this about CPS. Okay? I've said this before, and I'll say this again. Maybe this is your first time hearing me say this. CPS is really is kind of just a measure more than anything. It's a measure put into place by our state governments in order to try to intervene in situations to try to protect children as best as they possibly can. They have a lot of provisions and rules and laws and things that they have to follow, right? But I've always told you guys this. At the end of the day, whose responsibility? Y'all have heard me say it before. Whose responsibility is it to take care of these children? It's the nuclear family's responsibility. The mother and the father. Biological mother, biological father at the end of the day. It's their ultimate responsibility over the life, the death, the things that that your children learn and all of that stuff, especially in their early development. It is 100% responsibility of the biological mother and the biological father, not the state, not the police, not the family members, nobody except the person that has custody. It starts at home. It starts at the core, the mother and the father. Okay? So I don't want to put too much blame on CPS, but listen to this again real quick.
Alone before.
I've had to take the baby home because she'll be outside playing. It was a few times where I had to take both of her kids home.
Seen both children outside alone before.
I've had to take the baby home because she'll be outside playing. It was a few times where I had to take both of her kids home.
No one answered the door when Fox 8 went to the apartment.
That's a shame.
It's just a very sad situation. It literally broke my heart.
Kevin Freeman, Fox 8 News.
Now this is the father in court, and we've already saw the mother's reaction. Hashtag, where's the GoFundMe? Great question. We'll take a look at this GoFundMe before we get up out of here. I feel like I have taken enough of you guys' time, and we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. But this is the now closed GoFundMe. I have no idea who actually opened this thing, but I thought it was very interesting. This is the, on the wrong screen. This is the GoFundMe right here. Campaign is no longer active. I don't know how long it was up. They raised $1,531. $1,531. Like I say, maybe that was closed for a reason. I don't know if the improper person opened up the GoFundMe, but if that was the real GoFundMe and like the family members were asking for that money to bury the baby, then man, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. $1,500 ain't really a whole lot to get a lot of anything done, you know, to be real honest with you. But let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, and we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. For people that are watching this on the replay, y'all can hit the thumbs up also. It'll share the show. For the people that are watching the show, hit the thumbs up, and then we're going to go ahead and close out, okay? Chevelle said, I saw a GoFundMe and it only had $475. So maybe some of the problem could be who's opening the GoFundMe. I don't know. Maybe there's maybe it's getting flagged down or something. You never really know. This is the father.
I'm willing to take full responsibility for what happened. I can't tell you I'm sorry. I am about what happened. It was a tragic accident. I learned from it.
I wish he'd stop doing all of that.
I can't talk right now.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but in that particular piece right there, he said he takes full responsibility for everything that happened. I think that's the step to being a man, but both of them as mothers and fathers got a long way to go. They got a lot of lessons to learn, and this is a very, very hard way to have to learn that damn lesson. But I do know that what you don't do is you don't lash out at the judge.
I'm opposing the cost of this prosecution.
Do not lash out at the judge. That's what you don't do.
I'm not guaranteeing it for either of you.
That's so That's so Relax.
And they're telling her to relax. I don't know. But at the end of the day, guys, I'll tell you this. It is a very important job as parents, as neighbors, family, friends. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you guys this real quick. I'm going to tell you guys a story before we get up out of here. And I want to say thank you. We almost had about 200 people here. I haven't done a show in days, so that's my fault. The more we do shows, I'm sure we'll get more people in the building. But let me say this to the people that are here, okay? As neighbors, family, friends, I told a friend of mine that recently just had a baby. One of my good riding buddies out here. We ride motorcycles together, right? And I told them, I'm just like, bro, I've been there, done that. They just had their first kid. He's close to my age and just had his first kid. And I told him, I'm like, man, if y'all need anything, whether you need diapers, wipes, formula, or even if you need a babysitter, I'm like, let me know. As a father, I've been there. I've done that. I used to spend days with my daughter, 4 days a week. What was it? Monday through Thursday. I used to spend with my daughter because her mom had to work. So I kept her with me the first 2 years of her life. I know how difficult that is. I know what it's like to sit there and have to get on a rest schedule. I know what it's like to sit there and have to constantly check diapers. I know what it's like to sit there and have to wonder what she's crying about now, what she's uncomfortable with now, and trying to get her to be content and all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which is also why me and my baby have such a beautiful bond, because daddy has always been there from the jump. But I told him, I'm just like, I understand what that's like. And if I can be, an advocate on YouTube talking about this thing to you guys, then best damn believe that I can do that in real life. So I do that with my neighbors, with my friends, with my kids, my brothers, my sisters, my relatives. Reach out to them the same way, because at the end of the day, the only way that we can make change is if we lead by example. We make change by leading by example. We need more nuclear families, mothers and fathers in the households. We can change this thing. We have to believe in a concept of something that worked back in the day when we had the strongest families, the strongest commitments to raising children underneath one roof, which is in the confines of a marriage. If we're not going to have marriages, then maybe we don't need to have children, unless we are just damn confident that we can raise these children in separate households. It's a very difficult thing to do. As you guys see, this is a difficult thing for people that are mother and father nuclear in the household. It's already hard enough. So we have to really, really know that we are able to take care of these children and stop recklessly procreating. We need to really, really start giving a damn about these children and being responsible and stepping up to the plate and living with the blessings and living with the consequences. All right? Hashtag no babies for benefits. We need to cut that stuff out. This is your boy DJ Just Jay. We signing out. I want to say thank you to everybody out there. That's the end of the show. We're cutting it right there.